Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another New World video. In today's video, we are going to talk about everything you need to know to become the ultimate kill squad healer. Kill squad healing is by far one of the most intense and demanding roles to play as a healer, and the skill needed to pull it off successfully is quite high. Your performance isn't going to be dictated on numbers, but by your communication, awareness, and the ability to survive well when under pressure. You are going to be putting yourself in a lot of bad spots. However, kill squad healers have one of, if not the most impact in wars, as your group is responsible for peeling backline, pushing into enemy backline, contesting enemy kill squad, killing high priority targets with mortal empowerment stacks, and more. This build is also amazing at OPR and 3v3s if you like to play with light armor players. With that being said, let's get right into the video. The first thing we are going to talk about is the life staff skill tree. There is 3 amazing builds to use, and it's going to depend on preference and group comp. The first build is going to be a full single target build with Divine's Embrace, Sacred Ground, and Light's Embrace, also known as DST, short for double single target. DST is by far the most reliable build to play in wars, as you have a heal for every single bit of chip damage and burst damage, as well as the option to heal out of group when necessary. This is the best build to counteract burst damage in this bow and kill squad meta, and is the best overall build out of the 3 trees. Now that we've talked about the build, let's talk about how to play it. There is a few things to keep in mind with this build, and that is the use of keybinds and the fact that you have 2 hard cast abilities. Healing keybinds are a core part of any healer build nowadays, but this one in particular, as you have 2 single target abilities. You need to quickly be able to heal group members once they take heavy burst damage. If you have a mouse with buttons on the side, I recommend keybinding mouse wheel up and down and the side buttons so you have all your keybinds on your mouse. This will allow you to freely use your left hand for W, A, S, and D to move around quickly. As I said before, having 2 single target abilities means you will be stationary more times than not. Since we have low cooldown abilities, we will not need to auto attack at all for cooldown reduction, and we will prioritize movement more than anything. Always be looking for places to stand, communicate where the enemy kill squad is, and use terrain to your advantage. The rotation for this build is quite simple. Use Light's Embrace to top players off above 60% HP, prioritize players below 50% HP with Divine's Embrace, and use Sacred Ground when your team engages. Not before and not too late after. When healing out of group, use Light's Embrace to top players off more often than you do with Divine's Embrace. Don't forget, with the perk accelerating Light's Embrace, it also does offer a haste boost, so make sure you can use that to get your team out of trouble. Next up, we have my personal favorite skill tree, triple single target, or TST for short. Everything we just talked about from the DST skill tree applies here, so I'm not going to go over it a second time. The only difference is that instead of taking Sacred Ground, we take Splash of Light. This is a very niche build and is only ever good in groups of 4 decks. So groups of 3 bows, 1 musket, 4 bows, 2 muskets, you name it, 4 decks. If you have even 1 melee in your group, take off Splash of Light in place of Sacred Ground. With 3 single target abilities, you have direct control over the lives of your group members, and it is the ultimate counter to enemy decks players. The Splash of Light perk is finally fixed and now removes 2 debuffs instead of 1, as well as does increase healing. It is the ultimate counter to muskets, as it removes the powder burn damage and cripple effect, as well as killing jagged and attunement procs. One thing I want to mention is that since we do not have Sacred Ground, you are more vulnerable to dying, as Splash of Light also has an animation, so we are now locked in place for longer. You need to abuse line of sight and terrain even better with this build. The last build is probably the most familiar build to you, and that is the Divine's Embrace, Sacred Ground, and Splash of Light build. It is a standard group healer build, but we can also use it in kill squad. It is a viable alternative to the DST playstyle, and it's best used in hybrid groups such as double melee, double range, or 1 melee, triple range. In 4th phase of wars, I swap to this build more often than not, as kill squad sometimes tends to get spread out and it's easier to manage LOS issues. Not to mention the debuff removal is still quite nice. However, after playing with double single target and triple single target, I feel like I'm missing something. The 2 direct heals from the prior builds offer such a fun and engaging playstyle that this one feels slow and lackluster comparatively. This is the easiest build to play out of the 3, and I recommend this one to anyone looking to just get started and then move on to DST and TST from there. As for side weapons, there is no better choice than the Rapier. It is still the king of survival with the likes of Evade, Riposte, and Fletch. Here is the best Rapier healer build. It offers the max amount of CDR and haste through all the passives. Any other Rapier tree for healing is troll. The attribute setup for kill squad healers is the same as group healers: 300 focus, 210 con. 310 focus is a waste of 10 stats, and having the 10 extra con offers a bit more survival. Now that we've got the skill trees and attributes out of the way, let's talk everything about gear and perks, starting with the weapons. There is 2 life staffs to choose from, and that is either going to be a blessed refreshing move, Purity of Light, or Blessed, Refreshing Move, Refreshing Divine's Embrace Life Staff. For the triple single target build, I would use the Purity of Light Life Staff, and with the other builds, I would use the Refreshing Divine Embrace Life Staff. As for the Rapier, Sundering Riposte, Keen Speed, or Refreshing Fletch Keen Speed works just as fine. Both life staffs will be linked down in the description below. The armor perks get a little more tricky as the meta is different in NA compared to EU. In NA, healers prioritize refreshing over defensive perks. In EU, it's the opposite. This is subjective, and what's BIS for you might not be BIS for others. But some notable defensive perks are Freedom, Shirking Fortification, Physical Aversion, and Elemental Aversion. In this meta, I have played with all 4 perks, and I will say from my personal experience, I do love Shirking Fortification more than anything. Especially in Fort phase where fights are more close quartered, you can proc Shirking Fortification a lot, and Shirking Fortification just generally has more value the closer you are. So the perks I use and would recommend is Resilience, Refreshing, and Shirking Fortification. Remember, this is subjective, so do not come in my comments baby raging about what's right or wrong, because this game is mostly opinion based when it comes to perks. Don't forget you need life staff perks as well, so make sure you grab a Resilience, Refreshing, and life staff perk, notably Fortifying Sacred Ground and Accelerating Light's Embrace. As for the amulet, Health, Refreshing, Slash Protection, Thrust Protection, Stamina Recovery are all great options. In Kill Squad, however, it's recommended to drop a Refreshing and have Health, Protection, and Stamina Recovery. The ring needed is Hardy, Sacred, Refreshing. Hardy to give you an extra dodge, Sacred for healing output, and Refreshing for the extra cooldown reduction. For the earring, nothing is going to be better than a Refreshing Toast, Refreshing, and Healthy Toast earring. Healthy Toast is too valuable to give away as it is essentially a second health pot. For your Heartrune, Stone Form is by far the best option for healers. There is 2 options to use when it comes to stone forms, and that is either going to be the Mending Stone Form or the Stalwart Stone Form. The Mending Stone Form is a bit better than the Stalwart Stone Form for healers, but it's personal preference at the end of the day. There is a multitude of ways to run your gems in this game, but in this meta specifically, there is a lack of magic damage being taken as a healer. The only true magic damage you take is from muskets and blunderbuss players. Therefore, a common gem setup at the higher competitive levels in NA and EU is 8 onyxes while slotting gemstone in your hotbar. This will result to a 20% slash, 20% strike, 20% thrust, and 0% elemental damage split. You can of course increase slash or thrust to 30% with a protection amulet. The gemstone will cover all of your magic protection needs in the very rare cases you take damage from magic. In OPR or arenas, however, magic damage is a bit more prevalent, so feel free to change your gems as needed. The most important gem to put in your weapons is a diamond rune glass of Arboreal or any diamond elemental rune glass. The diamond rune glass is currently bugged to get 15% extra healing while also providing the damage over time effect, which increases your ultimate recharge rate. In the Rapier, slot an energizing Arboreal as well, or any other elemental gem. It's very min-maxed, but there's always a chance of not getting exhausted from that. On to the settings portion of this video, we are going to go over the most important part of any healer build, and that is going to be the settings. You might be quite surprised by what I mean by this, but a lot of healers do not actually know of this feature, including me. Only about 2 months ago did I learn of this feature. It's very prominent in EU, and I was very thankful and glad that one of the EU coaches in our company showed me this tech. So if you check here under melee combat, you're going to see block, and right mouse button is the official keybind for the block key. I'm going to show you what this does. As you guys see here, my life staff is holding up. This is the way that you cancel heals. As you see, we're going to cast and then hold right click to block. What this does is it halts our stamina. So I'm going to dodge, I'm going to cast the heal, and I'm going to block. So that's how we cancel our heal, right? Cast, hold block, and you see on the bottom there, my stamina is like at 70 out of 110. That is the main way to cancel heals. However, if you unkeybind this or rekeybind it to another key, this one for example, tilde, we're going to cast the heal. We're actually going to dodge 2 times. We're going to cast the heal, then we're going to press right click. You see my stamina is still going up even though we press right click? For some reason, block halts our stamina, but unkeybinding block or rekeybinding it does not halt our stamina. So make sure you guys go here, settings, melee combat, and disable your block keybind or rekeybind it to something else. The next thing I want to touch on is the live staff combat. It is right under the melee combat here in the keybind settings. We are going to be looking at the healing keybinds. It's target group member 1 through 5, and the target self keybind shares the target group member 1 keybind. So if you have a target self keybind, which is hold control and then your heal, which will automatically heal you. You can also keep that to heal yourself just in the case you are targeting someone else and you want to cast it on yourself as well, just like I did there. So for example, Here, I'm going to hold control and then press my healing key button. As you see, it heals me. But if I'm healing someone else, but I want to heal myself, I just have to press my control key and it'll go straight to me, like just like this. So that's one tip as well. As for the rest of the keybinds here, find something that fits for you. As I said, target group member 1, that's always going to be used, so match it with your target self keybind. Target group member 2 through 5, that's going to be up to you. I did say prior in the video to always have your keybinds on your mouse or in the same place, just so it's easier to manage, right? Some people like to do foot pedals. I saw a healer video do foot pedals. I guess that could work as well if you want to do that. But if you do have a mouse with 2 mouse buttons, you could just keybind the 2 keybinds on the side to one of the keybinds, and you can also re-keybind your mouse wheel up and down to heal targets as well. So I have the second person in my group as mouse wheel up, and then I have the last person in my group as mouse wheel down. So up for the first person, down for the last person. It just makes the most sense to me. That's all I really wanted to touch on quickly in the keybind section of this video. So let's move down into game here and scroll down to the healing settings of this video. So targeted healing, of course, needs to be on. Freeform camera needs to be on. If we have freeform camera, we can look around like this and we won't be caught up in the action. Let me turn this on just to show you what I mean by this. So if we had freeform camera turned off, look at what would happen to our heals. We're locked onto that person like this and it's hard to move. So let's go ahead and turn the freeform camera on. Everything else should be off. You should not be having group mode on. The group mode on and off feature is a dead feature as a healer. What you want to be doing nowadays is turning your group mode off and healing with keybinds. Turning on and off your group mode is very inefficient to heal out of group if you really need to. You can do the same thing by just having group mode turned off and using keybinds. It's more efficient this way. You could heal your army way easier instead of having to toggle your group mode off and on, and it's just more efficient. Another quick cool feature is sticky lock. If you want to keep healing the same target over and over after you cast a heal, you could turn this on. However, I just love healing people out of my group. I love being more efficient. I love just having effective heals pretty much everywhere in the army. So I like to heal different people instead of the same person. So I just turn this off, and I would recommend every other setting turned off as well besides freeform camera. All right, arguably the most important part of this video is going to be the life staff healing tips. I'm going to be giving a bunch of tips that I want you to follow, and I want you guys to practice in OPR, wars, wherever you can to start getting more value out of your healing kits. All right, so let's get into it. Communication is key with any exceptional healer, and double single target healers and triple single target healers require it the most. You should always be looking to give valuable information such as where the enemy kill squads are located and out of position healers. Since double single target healers play with both Light's Embrace and Divine's Embrace, we need separate comms for each ability. An example comm for Light's Embrace would be speed on X. X being the person you are casting on. As you guys know, accelerating Light's Embrace is a perk for Light's Embrace, and it does speed them up, so it is a separate communication ability so your team knows what's going on. With that being said, since Divine's Embrace is our main heal, we can calm generic things such as heal on X. So what is your role in the army as a kill squad player? As a kill squad healer, you are one of the most valuable parts of the healer core. You are responsible for keeping up your group, but also extensively healing out of your group. Healers in the backline, melees escaping clumps, stragglers, etc. It is your goal to be as effective as possible in preventing as many deaths as you can in the backline or sides of the points. This is why you will be focused a lot more than other healers. Do not auto attack, always move. Since you have 2 hard cast, low cooldown healing abilities, you need to be actively moving to prevent staggering and get into ready to heal positions. Healing priority: yourself, people with high mortal empowerment stacks, group leads, kill squads, bruisers, and then mages. Ability usage: wait to use Sacred Ground until players in your groups are engaging, not before and not too late. Try to chain DE procs, use DE to heal players below 50%, heal with Light's Embrace to get people out of dangerous situations, or to top players off who do not need to be healed with Divine's Embrace. One last but major thing I really wanted to touch on was a healing playstyle called preemptive healing. It is similar to reactive healing, but preemptive healing pretty much means that you are preemptively waiting for your team to take damage. For example, you already have your Divine's Embrace casting when they are about to take burst damage. That way the heal is pretty much instant and you don't have to react to the damage. It's already healed, you're already preemptively done it, you have the healing cast already ready. This is something you have to get very good at when kill squad healing, because sometimes the burst that they take is very coordinated, and you'll just have to be very preemptive about it. For example, if they get caught in a gravity wall, you have to learn the gravity wall damage pop. That way your healing goes off right as they take damage. You'll become a better player once you learn how to do this, and it's all about learning enemy cooldowns. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for today's video. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. You guys and girls know I love helping you. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please don't forget to leave a like as well as a subscribe. It really does help the channel out, and we are so close to 1,000 subs. Once again, thank you all so much, and peace, baby.